Pakistan is right in the middle of this massive solar revolution. And on the surface, that sounds amazing, right? I mean, cheaper, cleaner energy for everyone. But what if I told you that this green energy boom has a hidden, really dangerous side effect, one that could threaten the entire national power system?
So let's get into it. We're going to unpack what's being called Pakistan's solar paradox, where what looks like a perfect solution is accidentally creating a whole new set of massive problems.
And look, the scale of this thing is just staggering. You've got panel prices dropping, while grid electricity costs are soaring. And the result? Pakistan now has more than 25 gigawatts of solar capacity. That is a huge surge in power, and it's happening on individual rooftops all across the country.
Which, brings us to the core question here. How on earth can an explosion of cheap, clean energy be a bad thing? It just seems completely backward. But the answer lies in this really strange-looking graph that has an even stranger name.
And yep, that name is the duck curve. And trust me, this isn't just some quirky term an economist came up with. It's a visual representation of a huge problem facing power grids all over the world. And now, it has shown up in Pakistan with some serious speed.
So, what is this duck curve? Okay, picture the demand for electricity from the grid over a single day. In the morning, demand ramps up as everyone starts their day. But then, as the sun gets higher and stronger, all that rooftop solar kicks in, and boom, demand for grid power just plummets. That creates this deep belly in the middle of the graph. But here's the kicker. When the sun sets, all that solar power vanishes, just like that. And at the same time, everyone's turning on their lights, their AC, causing this sudden, incredibly steep spike in demand. That sharp ramp up, that's the duck's neck. And it's what puts the grid under absolutely extreme stress.
And let me be clear, this isn't some far-off theoretical issue for the future. It's happening right now. Just look at the difference between July 2024 and July 2025. In just 1 year, that midday valley in grid demand got deeper by almost 2,000 megawatts. The duck has definitely landed.
So, the bottom line is this. The grid is literally being hollowed out during the daytime. The whole system was built for a predictable, much smoother demand pattern. This new, wild shape puts a ton of strain on traditional power plants, because they just were not designed to ramp up and down that fast.
But the physical stress on all that machinery, that's only half the story. The duck curve is also kicking off this really dangerous financial chain reaction, something experts are now calling the grid's death spiral.
To really get why, you have to understand how Pakistan pays for its electricity. More than half the total cost of the entire system, we're talking a massive 1.8 trillion rupees, are what's called fixed capacity charges. You could think of them like retainer fees for power plants. They have to be paid whether those plants generate any electricity or not.
And that right there is the trap. See, when people use their own solar power during the day, they buy a lot less electricity from the grid. But those giant fixed costs, they don't just go away. The total bill the country has to pay stays exactly the same. It just has to be divided up among fewer and fewer units of electricity sold.
And this is where that vicious cycle kicks in. So first, rooftop solar cuts into grid sales. Second, those huge fixed costs now have to be recovered from a much smaller sales base. Third, that forces the per unit price for everyone who is still on the grid to go up. And fourth, well, these higher prices just make solar panels look even more attractive, pushing more people to install them. And then the cycle just repeats over and over, threatening the financial stability of the entire system.
So, how do you stop this thing? You can't just tell people to stop installing cheap, clean solar panels. The real answer lies in completely rethinking the electricity bill itself and moving away from a structure that one analyst called stuck in the last century.
The solution being proposed is to build a smarter system by unbundling all the costs, instead of just hiding everything inside one single, confusing per kilowatt-hour rate. The old bill basically and accidentally encourages people to leave the grid. This new proposed subscription model, on the other hand, makes all the costs totally transparent and sends really clear, smart price signals.
This new model would have 3 simple parts. First, a fixed monthly capacity subscription to cover those fixed power plant costs. Second, a fixed network charge for, the poles and wires that get the power to your house. And third, a variable energy charge that actually changes based on the real cost of electricity at different times of the day. So super cheap when solar is everywhere and a bit more expensive during those evening peaks.
Now, if that sounds a little complicated, just think about your internet bill for a second. As Amar H. Khan points out, you are almost certainly using this exact model already.
You pay a fixed monthly fee for, say, a 50 megabits per second connection, not for every single megabyte you download. You're paying for access to the capacity, the pipe. This is just applying the exact same logic to electricity. Makes sense, right?
And this is how we go from being threatened by the duck curve to actively hunting it. This new pricing structure turns the whole problem right on its head. By making electricity incredibly cheap in the middle of the day, this new tariff sends a powerful economic signal. It tells industries, hey, shift your heavy-duty work to the daytime. It tells homeowners that the best time to charge an EV or run the washing machine is during peak sun, when power is basically almost free.
And all of a sudden, that deep, hollowed-out belly of the duck curve isn't a problem anymore. It's a massive, cheap energy resource just waiting to be used. Instead of causing a crisis, we're now being encouraged to soak up all that extra solar power. And that flattens the curve, it reduces the strain on the grid, and it makes the whole system way more stable and financially sound.
So look, this solar revolution in Pakistan, it's unstoppable. It's happening right now on millions of rooftops. The technology is here, and it's reshaping the country's energy landscape from the ground up. So the crucial question this all leaves us with is pretty simple. The future is happening, but is the rulebook ready to catch up in time to turn this potential crisis into a sustainable future?